The love that has no prerequisites, Jesus on God's love for enemies, Matthew 5:44. You know who they are, the one who wronged you, the one you didn't deserve, the one whose name still tightens something in your chest. Jesus looks at that person, that specific, actual, undeserving person, and says, love them. Not the feeling that comes easily, not the warmth that requires no effort, the agape, the highest, noblest love in the New Testament. The love that acts for someone's good, whether they have earned it or not. The love God is. Subscribe, because this command is the most unnatural thing Jesus ever asked and the most powerful proof of what he has done in you. April 30th, daily nourishment to become Christ-like. Teacher Peter Ministries presents daily readings from the life of Christ. The love that has no prerequisites. But I say to you, love your enemies. Matthew 5:44a. Jesus on God's love for enemies. The world loves the beautiful and the likable. Jesus calls his followers to love the undeserving. How the world loves. People base love on attractiveness and likability. Jesus' kind of love is need-oriented. People tend to base love on attractiveness and likability. They love the so-called beautiful people, the enjoyable activities, the nice houses, the sharp cars. Love, in the world's definition, is a response to something appealing. It flows toward what is attractive. It gravitates toward what is pleasant. It stops where the appeal runs out. But Jesus' kind of love is different at its root. It is need-oriented. It does not flow toward what is attractive. It flows toward what is desperate. It does not ask, is this person worth loving? It asks, what does this person need? The Good Samaritan in Agape in action. He sacrificed his own convenience, safety, and finances to help a desperately needy man. Luke 10:29-36-37. Jesus does not define agape in the abstract. He tells a story. In the parable of the Good Samaritan, Luke 10:29-36-37, the Samaritan showed tremendous love because he sacrificed his own convenience, his own safety, and his own finances to help a desperately needy man. The man on the road had no claim on him, no relationship, no shared history, no reciprocal obligation. He was simply a need that appeared, and Agape responded, not because the man deserved it, because the love had no prerequisites. What Agape actually is, the noblest and best New Testament love. It strives to meet another's utmost welfare in emotion and in action. The love Jesus commands here is agape, the noblest and best love in the New Testament. It is the form of love that strives to meet another's utmost welfare. Such love may involve emotion, but it must involve action. Like every aspect of righteousness, agape originates in the regenerate heart, but it shows its fullest potential by what it does. More than anything, this kind of love is the love God is, expresses, and provides. Romans 5:8, 1 John 4:7-12, which means we do not generate agape on our own. We receive it from God, and then we extend it, even toward enemies. Jesus washes feet he knew would betray him. A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, even as I have loved you. John 13:34. When Christ told his apostles, a new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, even as I have loved you, he had just washed their feet as an example of agape love. The apostles were self-centered, quarrelsome, envious of one another. They sometimes challenged the Lord himself, and he washed their feet. He served the people who would argue about who among them was greatest. He washed the feet of the one who would betray him. He loved them not because they had earned it, but because love without prerequisites is the kind of love God is. The most unnatural command, the clearest proof. Few biblical mandates are more unnatural. Few make us a more sterling example of the difference Christ makes. There are few biblical mandates more unnatural to our desires and our experiences than this one. Everything in us resists loving an enemy. Every instinct says they don't deserve it. Every emotion says they haven't earned it. Every wound says, why should I? And Jesus says, because you are showing the world what I have done in you. Few things make us a more sterling example of the difference Christ makes in an ordinary individual's life than loving someone who has given us every reason not to. This is not natural, it is supernatural, and that is exactly the point. Reflection. The difference Christ makes. If you are currently dealing with situations that call for this kind of love, how do you intend to express it? The reflection is personal and specific. Not, do you believe in loving your enemies in principle? But, if you are currently dealing with situations that call for this kind of love, how do you intend to express it? There is an enemy on the table, an actual person, a specific wound, a real situation. And the question is not whether agape is required. The question is how, not feeling it yet. That is not the requirement. Acting for their welfare, that is. Agape begins not when the emotion arrives, but when the will submits to the love God is and provides. Application and love them. Here is how. Agape is not the feeling that comes easily. It is the action taken for someone's welfare when the feeling has not arrived. Name your enemy. Loving your enemies in the abstract is easy. Loving this specific person is the command. Loving enemies in the abstract is easy. Jesus is not talking about the abstract. He is talking about a specific person who has wronged you, opposed you, or made your life genuinely harder. This week, name that person. Not to rehearse the grievance, but to make the command concrete. You cannot love an enemy you have not been willing to name. The agape starts with the acknowledgement, this person is my enemy, and Jesus says, love them. Identify one act for their welfare. Agape must involve action. What is one thing you could do this week for their genuine good? Agape may involve emotion, but it must involve action. The question is not, do you feel warmly toward your enemy? The question is, what is one concrete act you could take this week for their genuine welfare? Not reconciliation. That may not be possible or safe. Not pretending the wound doesn't exist. One act for their good. Praying for them, Matthew 5:44b. Declining to speak against them. Removing an obstacle in their path that only you are positioned to remove. The act of agape does not wait for the feeling of agape to arrive first. Receive the love that makes this possible. We love because he first loved us. 1 John 4:19. The reason agape toward enemies is possible is not that we are noble enough. It is that God is the source. He is the love. 1 John 4:8. He expresses it. He provides it. Romans 5:8. We love because he first loved us. 1 John 4:19. The agape we extend toward an enemy is the agape God has already extended toward us while we were yet sinners. Romans 5:8. Before the cross, we were enemies of God. He loved us anyway. He acted for our welfare. He sent his son. This week, before trying to love your enemy, sit with how God loved his. You are the proof that enemy love works. Pray, let your love for your enemies flow through me. You loved me when I was your enemy. Let that love flow through me toward mine. Father, I confess this is the hardest command. Not because I don't understand it. I understand it clearly. It is hard because everything in me resists it. The wound is real. The wrong was real. And every natural instinct says, they don't deserve my love. They haven't earned it. Why should I give what has not been asked for and will not be appreciated? I know that voice, and I know it is not yours. You loved me when I was your enemy. While I was yet a sinner, Christ died for me. Before I turned toward you, before I deserved anything from you, before I could offer anything in return, you acted for my utmost welfare at the greatest possible cost. That is agape, and you have put that love in me by your Spirit. Romans 5:5. I cannot generate this love, but I can receive it, and then I can extend it. Let me bring the name of my enemy before you honestly, not pretending the wound is smaller than it is, but not letting the wound become the final word. Show me one act I can take for their genuine welfare this week. Let the agape I extend be the proof of what you have done in me. Let it be the most unnatural and the most powerful thing I do. In Jesus' name, amen. Meditate. You are the proof that enemy love works. Before the cross, you were an enemy of God. He loved you anyway. You are the proof that enemy love works. Carry this truth. Agape is need-oriented, not attraction-oriented. It strives to meet another's utmost welfare in emotion and in action. I do not generate this love. I receive it from God who loved me while I was his enemy, Romans 5:8. The agape I extend toward those who have wronged me is not my love. It is his flowing through me. I am the proof that enemy love works because it worked on me. When the wound says they don't deserve love, remember, you didn't either, and God loved you anyway. When the emotion isn't there, remember, agape must involve action. Start with the act. The emotion may follow. When the command feels impossible, remember, you are not the source. God is. Receive his love first, then extend it. Let these words renew your mind. Takeaway. The most unnatural thing is the most powerful proof. Few commands are more unnatural. Few make us a more sterling example of the difference Christ makes. The world loves the attractive and the likable. Jesus' kind of love is need-oriented. Agape, the noblest New Testament love, strives to meet another's utmost welfare in emotion and in action. It originates in the regenerate heart and shows its fullest potential by what it does. God is the source. He loved us while we were yet enemies, Romans 5:8, and his Spirit pours agape into us, Romans 5:5. Jesus demonstrated it by washing the feet of self-centered, quarrelsome disciples, including the one who would betray him, John 13:34. Few commands are more unnatural to our desires and experience than loving an enemy. Few make us a more sterling example of the difference Christ makes in an ordinary life. Subscribe, you know who they are. The one who wronged you, the one you didn't deserve. And Jesus says, love them. Not the love that flows toward what is attractive. The agape, the noblest love in the New Testament, that strives to meet another's utmost welfare, whether they have earned it or not. The Good Samaritan sacrificed his convenience, safety, and finances for a stranger who had no claim on him. Jesus washed the feet of disciples who were quarrelsome, envious, and unfaithful. He loved them not because they had earned it, but because agape has no prerequisites. God is the source. He loved us while we were his enemies, Romans 5:8. His Spirit pours that love into us, Romans 5:5. And then he asks us to extend it even to our enemies. Few commands are more unnatural. Few make us a more sterling example of the difference Christ makes. Subscribe, because this is the most powerful proof of what he has done in you. Subscribe. Love your enemies. It is the most powerful proof of Christ in you.